Welcome back to the Consciously Creating Your 2025 Online Summit. I am so excited. If you've been following me for a long time, you have seen my dear friend Laura before because we like to collaborate and have a good time. And I know you're going to gain so much wisdom and insight from her today. I really encourage you to grab your favorite pen and some paper, have it handy, because if anything comes that really resonates, I'd love for you to jot that down. You can reference it later. Or maybe even if you learn a couple tricks or tools, you'll be able to write those down as well to help guide you and navigate you through 2025. So Laura, welcome.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I love when you ask me to give my wisdom, and I just love it. I'm very excited. And
Awesome. Me too.
being talking about 2025, it's an exciting time. So
It really is. So before we dive in to 2025 and all its expansion, can you share a little bit about you and the work you do and stuff like that?
so I am the founder of Miles of Smiles Alternative Solutions. My website is milesofsmiles.ca. And I kind of narrowed everything down to four modalities that I look at. Numerology is one of the modalities because I think it's very important to know people's numbers. Astrology is another modality that I look at, and it gives me so much more to look at that person. And then I do energy healing, and there's different master energy healer that I am. I took so many different so I don't call my sessions just Reiki, so they're
Yeah.
energy. And then reflexology, which also is under the guidelines of energy healing. It is the electrical energy in the body. So that's what I do. And when a person comes to me, it's easier to help them with what they're navigating if I look at the other stuff as well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it. And if anybody is in the Niagara Falls area, you definitely want to look Laura up and go for reflexology. I absolutely love living here in the north, but if I could take Laura with me, I would because I miss my sessions tremendously. And also, I love how you, while working with the feet, work with all the other modalities as well to bring lots of insight. And I haven't met another reflexologist out there yet that does the same thing you do. So I just love, love, love that. All right. So, and another thing you do that's a lot of fun is your under the oak tree meditations. Those are absolutely lovely as well.
So now I base them on the moon phases. So I do them pretty much every 2 weeks or so. Whenever there's a new moon or a full moon, I do it all year long, not just in the summertime. Now I'll bring it indoors. I have a big garage, which we put a beautiful candle altar, and everybody wanted to continue them. So that's what we've been doing probably since 2022. So every 2 weeks or so, yeah, we get together, and there's wisdom in it. They get insights from their astrology charts. So lots of fun.
I love it. I love it. All right. So we are embarking on this 2025 and we've been through so much. So the last time I got to see you and hug you in person was 2021 when I moved away, when I played MLS roulette with during COVID and moved far, far away. But lots has happened for everyone during those times. And
Mhm.
so, I think we've gone through a little bit of not a little bit, a lot of transformation, both globally in society, in our institutions, in our families, and in ourselves. And so, having some wisdom and guidance to help everybody as we come into this new shift is so, so helpful. So, I'd love to know, what do you see as some of the big themes coming up for 2025?
2025 is so first thing I always do is I look at the numerology for 2025, and 2025 is 20 is always about the awakening. So, and we've seen that 2020 was the double awakening, and 2021 was awakening of the truth coming to the surface. And 2025 is all about the awakening, but using this almost like a rocker of energy, looking into the past history and moving forward, it's almost a shift. So be it that you really need to tap into your intuition. And that was one thing that I really found profound in looking at coming up into 2025 right now. But that is so important, that these downloads of energy and learning how to use or tap into it, it's kind of natural for me now, although I do a lot of um, say looking at people's charts and doing a lot of the left brain stuff. So, but tapping into and allowing these downloads. So the basic word that I use is surrender, right? Surrendering to what is and allowing everything to download. So if you look at the number 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 5, it adds up to number 9. So it's universal year 9. 9 can be about endings and culmination. And the last time we were in it was 9 years ago, right? So it's a 9-year cycle. So it would have been in 2016. So you can kind of navigate your years by looking back into what the last 9 years have been for you. But this culmination of it's, you look at the number 9 and the body of the number 9, it connects from heaven to earth, but it's got a big head, right? So it's the wisdom keeper. It's the wisdom in knowing where we were and where we're going, and allowing you to release everything that no longer serves you. So walking into 2025, January 2025, is a 1. It's a new beginning. So we're really going to see that across the board of the new beginnings energy in January. I got a lot of people a little frightened during the election time and stuff, but but it's really, really good to stay above the fray, right? So
Yeah.
let's not stay in the energy of the 3D. We need to rise above and be in charge of your own energy, because each of us, this is how I look at it, it might be a little funny, but um, each of us has to put our deposit in the universal consciousness or universal unity. And if we're uplifting and very much about having, I don't know, I look at the emotional guidance scale being way up there with the wisdom and the knowledge and the love, and just emanating that love out of yourself so that you can navigate your energy and yourself is so important. But yes, 9, we could see a lot of different endings happening in so many different ways throughout the time. So a culmination of energies will come in September of 2025, and that will be a complete ending. So every September, whatever the year is that we're in, is a triple amplification of it. So, and I always look at the 9. So if it's a triple digit, 9 plus 9 plus 9 is actually 27, 9. So it's really using that energy and navigating that energy and really tapping into what doesn't serve you
Yes.
globally and personally. So personally, your cycle is on your birthday, from birthday to birthday. So Sam, being her birthday on June 29th,
Yep.
right? So Sam would have her birthday this year, in 2024, and then 2025, she would change her personal cycle. So in right now, being in like January of 2025, she would be in 11,
Always
17.
fascinating how quickly you throw these numbers together, Laura.
So you're in a year 6.
Yeah.
I'm making sure I did that right. 2 plus 6. 11 plus 70. Yep, I did that right. Okay. Have that, I always have a piece of paper in front of me. So when I'm doing numerology, so yeah, right now you're in a year 6, being that it's all about the healing, all about the love, all about emanating that energy and really into a rebirth, because I'm also in a year 6, a rebirth energy all the way to your birthday. So, but on the global level, it is a 9 and it's about that. So we navigate both of the numbers as we go forward. Because we live on Earth, this is our home on Earth. So we really need to look at what that value of that number and the value of our own numbers and how they work together, and they're both emotional, but centered in the fact that there's love, the universal consciousness, and the love that we give to each and every person. No matter if we see you or not, I send love to everyone.
Yeah, beautiful.
Um,
And
yeah,
I love this trend that's going on now around meditations and global meditations where you don't have to log in to Zoom initially we're like, oh, we're global, we can go on Zoom and we can do this. And now it's just your time zone this time, right? And just go be with the trees, go be where you'd like to be, but that energy is still magnified by all of us coming together and sending that love. And I love how you point out, you don't have to see the people, we don't have to necessarily even know where it's going,
no,
just trusting that if we can sit there in pure joy and love and share that, it's going to go exactly where it's needed.
absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, so like with that energy of the 9, it's so important because we see so many different things happening, but it is excuse me, it is a humanitarian number. So it kind of goes part and parcel with what's happening in the transformation and of Pluto now being in Aquarius, and that being the humanitarian power to the people. Same thing. It's the power to the people and that humanitarian vibe. And it's all about group consciousness. So like in my numbers, I have a life path number, life purpose number as a 9. So I find myself going into that group consciousness work and working with other people on that global level and helping other people. Um, a colleague of mine and I have a What is Numerology private Facebook group, but anybody can join it. We just did it private because sometimes people give, their private information, their
Yeah.
birthdays or whatever, right? And it's like, yeah, no, this has to be private. We did have it public, and then I started noticing that people commenting that weren't in the group, and I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, let's do that. But anybody that wants to know more about numerology can join that group. And yeah, Maria's a lovely lady that I met 5 years ago, and we work well together in that capacity of the numerology and helping people move forward with that.
Oh, I love that. And I love that
Yeah.
collaboration. Often we, this can be, even though we work with people, it can be isolating work sometimes.
Mhm.
Because if you're running charts, if you're looking at the numerology, if you're doing all that behind the scenes stuff, it's one on one. And so, what a beautiful gift to be able to collaborate with a partner and share the wisdom together because you'll both have a slightly different take on it, which I really love.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's pretty fun, and that's how we do it, and we work well together doing that. When we do our Facebook Lives every 2 weeks. Every
Mhm.
2 weeks we brainstorm and we work specifically on the numerology every other Wednesday. So that's the only time I work. So it's nice to kind of put those deposit of energy. This is what I'm doing today, and this is what I'm doing today. And then, it's important. And then even your own healing sessions. And that's what I do exchanges for my own healing sessions to clear my energy and keep it real, right?
Absolutely. I love this term you're using. Oh my goodness, and I just lost it. Okay, rewind a little bit. You shared you put in your deposit. What was the word you used with that? Just a moment.
Oh, when I put each
Yeah.
segregate different energies or put my
Yeah, your
deposit my
energy
energy.
deposit. I
That's
love that you acknowledge that because sometimes we get stuck in our heads that currency is our only currency, right? Like money is our only way of having a deposit. But
oh yeah.
energy and time are huge, huge currencies that we all carry with us all the time. And so you're sharing how you're putting in this deposit, putting in this deposit. And at the same time, you're sharing that your self-care is your withdrawal, right? All
That's
in
right.
balance. We have our deposits that we need to make, and then we have our withdrawals. And everyone's deposit might be different. You might be a teacher, and so your deposit in the global sense is you go to work and you help shape the minds of little beings.
Mhm.
And then the withdrawal would be how are you then helping to shape your own mind? How are you then reinvesting into you? So I love that you mentioned that, and I love the terminology of using it as a deposit because it really gives us that tangible, visual of understanding of what it is, because sometimes when we talk energy it's so abstract, right? Like we can't necessarily put our hands on it. So
Mhm.
I love that you put that little terminology there for everybody to help them visualize it.
That's funny. I think I started that years ago. Even before I started my business, I was doing like deposits in where I would put my focus, more or less, my energy. And then if I was in, say, work, which I had a job, and I would put my deposit there, I wouldn't have any distraction of what's going on at home
Yeah.
because if I do that, then I'm scattering my energy. So I started that a long time ago. And then even when I started my business, my deposit, but where I am at that moment, not about everything else. Sometimes things get cloudy, sometimes things happen.
Yeah.
People pass away in our lives, we lose jobs or whatever, and the lines get blurred, right? And so but we get back on track and center ourselves in our heart space and ground and tether, and then we can really stretch and focus again
Yeah.
and clear the mind. It's so important to do that. But yeah, I think that's been a habit I've been doing for quite some time because we can get distracted in other areas of our lives. So
Absolutely. You know, it's interesting you say that, getting distracted. So those of you who know me, I like to do lots of different things all at once. I love to just be friends with the ADHD and just bring it out, right? And so one thing that I've found to be such a huge blessing is that here in my office, I have a separate reading room from my office that I work in, like this one here. And they're right beside each other. It's not like they're miles apart, but I find just even that separation allows me even deeper when I'm in my reading room space. I'm
mm,
not in my coaching space, right? I'm not in my creation space. I'm in just me in spirit. And so, not even just about doing my readings, but I find even just my dates with spirit are
mm,
even that much more intentional without having, oh, which book do I need to read? Oh, I needed a quote from that book. Oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. It just allows us to refocus. And the other thing is time blocking. Like right now is my creation time. I'm only working on creating for the next 2 hours. And when the timer goes off, I'm done. Right. And so it's really nice merging these ideas of this energy deposit with these conscious creation of our time and how we want to spend our energy and how we want to spend our days. And I think that when we can consciously understand where our energy is going and what we're getting out of it,
mhm.
my goodness, we go to bed feeling so fulfilled.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it was in 2022, and that's funny because that would have been the year of awakening to building something new, something um, more strategic. And it's funny, in that year, I ended up going into renting a space. And in renting that space, I had to choose days that I wanted to work. So I only work and do my one-on-one sessions on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and 2 Saturdays a month. That's it. That's all. I used to scatter my energy and have all these open spots, which I mean, it's nice, it's great, but for myself, it was too much. And I'm the same as you, Sam. I liked I liked to scatter my energy and do a whole bunch of things at the home one. So then I think it's when I got a little bit older and as I aged, I see that I needed to do things a little bit more differently and
Yeah.
having different blocks of time out.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. I've always structured like I have reading days and coaching days so that they don't overlap.
Yeah.
And content creation days are a separate day. And I also schedule a learning day in where all I do that day is I read or I will, connect with other people I can learn with and watch different movies or videos on different techniques or something like that. But I schedule that learning day in, and I started that, I want to say, I don't know, 5, 6 years ago. What a game changer that was.
Mhm.
Because before that, it was like, oh, one day I'd love to learn about that. And I could block a whole week off and go to a training. And I'm really good about, if I'm away at school, it's my time. I go and I learn.
Yep.
But being able to just have that learning day where I'm like, okay, today is a learning day. And also understand that everything comes into my awareness that day is for my learning. So consciously coming into an interaction and saying,
Oh, nice.
okay, now what did that have to teach me? Oh, that's really interesting. I've had 3 people say the same word to me. What does that have to teach me today? Right? It's just a lot of fun to be able to just create in that way and
Mhm.
schedule in that way. So I love that you've got your set days for your time with clients, and definitely where you rent is a beautiful space too.
It is. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. All these crystals. I gravitate to crystal stores.
Yes, you do. So these days, what is your favorite crystal that you're working with?
Oh, I didn't even put my crystals on today. That's funny.
You know what's
Uh,
funny? I forgot mine too.
was that funny? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Seraphonite. Seraphonite.
Oh, what's that one all about?
So Seraphonite, I noticed that I was getting blocks in areas like my knees would get sore and different things were happening. And it was introduced to me by Maria. And it is a stone that helps unblock areas. And this specific time period that was happening is I felt unsafe for my property, people on my property. I felt unsafe.
Yeah.
There's a backstory, but anyways, so it actually helps unblock those areas that can like unconsciously block up without you even knowing that they're blocked until you step back and go, okay, now I see it. I see why this blocked and I see how I can unblock. So I have a beautiful bracelet of it, and it's kind of like a green stone with silver through it. It's beautiful.
Ooh.
It's gorgeous. It's like the forest green, of course, forest green. Sam knows that where I live, my backyard is the lady behind me has 21 pine trees and I have an oak tree. And so it's like almost like a forest in my backyard. So
Yeah.
forest green is something that I really liked. And then the silvery white through it. It was beautiful. But that's what
Oh,
I use
beautiful.
it for. I'm blocking. So sometimes like I'll use it for my healing sessions because that way it consciously allows me to realize that I'm not going to pull or take on their blocks, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
symbolism.
It is, and it's a great way of talking to the unconscious and the conscious mind too, because
Absolutely.
sometimes, if we're just right in the zone, the conscious mind still needs something to focus on. The conscious
Mhm.
mind still needs something to put its attention to. And so having something like that, like a bracelet to go, oh, okay, I'm consciously aware that right now I'm not taking on their energy. I'm just in the space with them. And
Mhm.
just having that little symbol can be that easy. And then we are not even aware that that conversation's even happened in the mind. It just happens on its own, just like breathing. But
Yeah.
it's really fun how these things can happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It is. But integrating and taking those moments to step back and allow yourself to recognize what is happening. People get so busy in their lives that sometimes they don't step back, and I say create space between the thoughts, right?
Mhm.
Um, in meditation, I don't say quiet the mind, I say create space between the thoughts, and that way the downloads can come in, right?
I
Because
love that idea.
otherwise, if you're constantly worrying or you're constantly have your mind racing on stuff, creating that space between the thoughts is something people can do. Oh, okay. So count to 10 and breathe, and then you create a space between your thoughts. And then expanding on that, of course, so that meditation isn't so scary for people. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm sure we both
Oh,
hear that a lot of people struggle with meditation. And sometimes I find that it's because they have in their mind what meditation is supposed to look like. They either saw a movie or someone told them, or, they've got this idea that has to be hours and hours doing, yeah, just
it is a
mudras and ohms and chanting and you know meditation can be as simple as walking in the woods. Meditation can be standing in the shower and just letting energy run off you. Like there are so many ways to meditate. So I love that you gave that tip, because creating that space is exactly what we're doing. We're not trying to shut down. And
no.
I think you're right. When every word having a different meaning to it, when we say clear your mind, you're right. It is a lot like a stop process, whereas meditation isn't a stop process at all. It's an open space. So, yeah, I love that idea. Thank you for
And
that.
you're welcome. And a lot of times when you say clear your mind, people resist it right
Yes.
away instead of surrendering to it. They resist that and then all of a sudden go, no, I can't do that. They don't know they're doing it. It's unconscious, but yeah.
Yeah, I love that. My other favorite is when I have a student say that they're not intuitive or they're not a medium, but then they proceed to give a reading and they're focused so much on trying to justify why that was just an accident that it came out. Right? That I'm often in practice with my students of afterwards saying, okay, so you just got 4 out of 5 things correct there. And the other one
That's right.
with mediumship, we don't know, right? So they might go and ask Auntie and Auntie verifies it for them. I think you might be a medium. You might have to actually think about that for a moment. So it's so funny to watch that process, because you're right. The mind tries to, sometimes the conscious mind and the ego will try to shut it all down. Like, oh, no, that that can't be possible. And so what I love to do is just turn that around and say, but what if it is possible? What then? Right? Because when we
That's right.
phrase it as a question, the unconscious mind then has to at least think about it and go, oh, wait, is it possible? Well, under this and this, it could be possible, maybe, right? And so then it creates that potential right there. So I love that you say create the space. I love it.
That's right. Because there is those potential possibilities that happen, and it's just about being open-minded and not allowing the ego to close it, you know.
Mhm.
It's yeah.
Yeah. So I find the ego gets the loudest, usually in areas around fear or doubt or
Mhm.
limitations, right? Whether those limitations are something we've self-imposed or whether those limitations are something that, one of our grown-ups or somebody in the outer world has imposed. And
Right.
so What are some ways that you work with the ego when that stuff comes up? What are some of the things that you do for yourself to create more space for the love to come in and the higher self as opposed to the ego sounds?
So it's about looking at your current situation. So, like I was saying before, the current situation of what's happening and kind of stepping back to seeing that, okay, this is what's happening right now. So then once you identify this in the situation, then it is really pinpointing back into where am I going to hold energy? I'm going to hold energy in my heart space. I'm going to emanate the energy into my, from my heart space to center myself. So I can figure out what exactly is happening. And then once I do that, once you emanate all that love, it does actually fill up your auric field. So it's about really readjusting. Then on top of that, you need to ground yourself. So in grounding myself, though, and keeping in those moments of um, um, once you ground yourself and center yourself, and that is your intention, then you need to have this every day. So in your everyday daily intentions, to keep yourself grounded and have the intention there. So that's where the surrender comes from, surrendering to everything else. There was a scenario case thing that came up this year for me, and it was just like, whoa, I have to step back. I didn't realize I was doing this. I didn't realize what was happening. And then it changed my area. So that's basically what I did. Step back, look, what is happening right now? Oh my goodness. I got into some sort of maybe even drama part because of somebody else telling me something. Now I have to step back. I have to center myself. I have to go back to the roots of what I normally do and then ground myself to the earth. And that way, with myself grounded, my heart opened, then my mind could clear whatever consciously I decided to do instead of surrendering. So it drew me right into the ego, and I was like, whoa. So then I had to step back, and
Yeah.
that's
You said
those
two
were the steps that I
you
did.
said two really profound things there that I'd love to expand on. The
Yeah,
first is around drama. And the second is in around when someone told you something.
that's right.
And I don't know that we always consciously think about those moments. Um, and that idea around when someone tells you something, which we'll just assume is in their perception true. We'll assume
Mhm.
that, right? We'll assume
Right.
everyone's starting from that good place. You can't unhear it.
No,
You
no,
then have to filter everything about that thing or person or place through this new filter of what you've been told.
right. And regardless of what you've been told, the whole point for me was regardless what I was told, and we all get trapped in it, whether you're a healer, whether you're in, the spiritual community, whatever, we all get trapped into that. So getting that, surrendering to whatever that is that's happening at the time, whether it's something I believe inside myself or not, yeah, you're right. You just can't unhear that, but then you can change a different perspective of it.
Yes.
So whether that is the case, whether that person is like that, whether this is going on or not, whether it is the truth or not, you need to stay into your own authentic self. You need to get back to your own authentic self. Because if you don't get back into your own authentic self, you're going to get into the drama and the gossip and all of this without using your tools and there's many tools out there to be
Yeah,
used.
absolutely. Absolutely. And when we think about drama, so I lovingly call people, drama mamas, the ones who are always like just right in it. They love it, right? Whether they like stirring the pot or they are the ones that like to hear it all. It's serving a purpose for them. I don't believe that these people are inherently bad. Now,
No.
whether it be that they feel special and important when people tell them secrets, or whether they feel special and important because they get to have the authority of knowing things that other people don't know, so they get to spread it around.
Mhm.
But it really comes back to, where are we wounded when we're in that space? Where are we wounded, and why are we valuing this exchange right now, right? And so I love having a look at that, but then I also love just trying to have that no gossip policy, that if it's not for highest and best, I don't need to hear it.
Right.
And when we can be in that space, it makes a really big difference on our own energy and how we can relate to others and the work that we're here to do. But
Mhm.
my goodness, it's a beautiful distraction if you're wanting to stay in ego and you're wanting to stay stuck, right? It's like, have you ever had, tax time? You have the cleanest house on the block because it's keeping you from doing those taxes or
Oh,
doing
yeah,
that thing that you don't want to do.
that's right.
Drama and gossip work that way too. They are that distraction that keeps us from our highest self, that keeps us from beautiful relationships.
That's right.
Yeah. So I love that you
And
brought that up.
it happens in everybody's life, though,
Mhm.
no matter what. And learning how to detach from that is important.
It is.
But you know what? We can get sucked in, and sometimes it's within our own family that there's things happening, and it's how to navigate that and what can come from that,
Yeah.
or just, stepping
Yeah.
backwards.
And everyone, it's part of the human experience.
Of course.
Right? It doesn't matter how evolved we are. We all have our own kryptonite, right? That pulls us back in, whether it's family or it's work or it's your church board or it's, your friend group. Everybody has this
Yeah.
area, but it's about consciously saying, thank you, but I don't want to participate in that. Thank you. I don't
Mhm.
think this is stuff I need to know. Right.
Right.
And being brave enough to do that. And I didn't always have that skill. I learned that years ago from a dear colleague who literally got up during a lunch dinner and said, thank you so much for spending lunch with me. This conversation doesn't pertain to me. I'm going to excuse myself now. I don't participate in gossip. And she left. And Janice, shout out to you. I try to remember that, because if we look at it as a thermometer, right, and we want to stay in the neutral zone or go up,
Mhm.
that's a pretty quick fall down, right? As soon as we start talking about the heavy things that are not for everybody's highest and best. Now, certainly sometimes we have to talk about some things that are uncomfortable, but it doesn't have to be gossipy, right?
That's
So,
right.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I love that. What
Yeah,
are
and
some ways that you keep yourself at the highest vibe possible?
say that again, sorry.
What are some ways that you keep yourself at the highest vibe possible?
Um, I do meditate, so that really helps me to stay into that higher vibration. Um, almost like in the summertime, like one of the things is gardening, and I still do it a little bit in the winter because I have a big bay window, and being in the dirt and just connecting with the natural world is important for me. So that helps me stay grounded even in the winter time. So I have
Mhm.
plants, and I have my big bay window. I have plants, and I garden all the time, all year long. That helps me stay grounded, and just energetically clearing the air. So every new moon or full moon, I do smudge my house. It's just there's energies in my house. There's 5 people that live in my house. So the energies need to be cleared quite often because everybody brings in different energies because they're all ages, right? From 3 years old all the way up to my age. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just being super intentional on what I'm doing
Yeah.
keeps me.
I love it. I started seed starting because I wanted to garden more, right?
Right, right.
But now I seed start more than I need. Some I can give away or whatever, but a lot of it is because it helps me be grounded in the winter. And
Mm.
I used to really struggle with like seasonal affect and stuff like that and sadness in the winter. And I find that the seed starting brings me so much joy that, I
Yeah,
don't have time for that anymore. It's just lovely. So that might be a trick that some people may want to also add to their list. Like you're saying, the gardening is amazing, but it can be year round. And we just have to think outside the box with it, right?
that's right. You just have to find a window that's south facing in your home and then put some plants there. It was funny. I was experimenting with my granddaughter in February, and I said, let's put these seeds. And so we'd started green beans and that. So before I could get the green beans in the garden, we actually had green beans growing in the house.
I love it.
Oh, Grandma, can we eat the green beans? Like, she loves green beans.
Oh, I
She's like, yes,
love
you
that.
can. Yeah, so it's because I started along my garage. I started a whole vegetable garden. So we did beans that were vined up and tomatoes and yeah, cucumbers, you name it. It was good.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I've so loved having you on the summit. Do you have any final words of suggestions for people for navigating these waters of 2025? Anything that might help them see the bigger picture of what's happening?
So always give yourself time to step back and integrate the energies that are happening. I don't actually label the energies as good or bad. They're
Yeah,
just energies, right?
yeah,
So stepping back and allowing yourself that moment to see what's happening and then opening your heart is important. Intentionally saying, open my heart will help you navigate that. And it's your unconditional love for yourself that's going to move you forward into staying that grounded. Grounded is just like a tree, right? Rooting yourself and having that safety and security. So that would be something that I would say, and then you can grow and intentionally expand that energy to the divine.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Laura, thank you so much for joining us. It's always lovely to have you here. And if anyone's wanting to connect with Laura, please remember you can head on over to her free Facebook group, what's the Facebook group called again?
It is called What is Numerology?
What is numerology? And then also Miles of Smiles Alternative Solutions as well. So be sure to connect with Laura, and we will look forward to connecting with you on the next call. I hope you're loving the summit, and we can't wait to hear everything that you're getting out of it. So please be sure to share.